Good morning, myself and Jason are on another job now where we're fitting LEDs into a set of shelves we have in the kitchen. So shortly we're going to bring you inside, we're going to show you the kitchen we installed, and now we're just doing the finishing touches where we put in the LEDs, wire them up so it creates a nice feature in the kitchen. You know, boom. So we've got two shelves here, this is the top of it. We're going to be doing the LEDs on the underside of the shelf. Now we've only got one chance doing this as well because we don't have any more replacement shelves. We're going to be taking one of these LEDs and we're going to be fitting this into the centre of the shelf, like so. We'll measure across, we'll mark it out, we'll cut it with a track saw to get our lines, and then we'll router out the centre of it. We first start by getting the full size of the shelf. Shelf is 196 millimeters in depth. It's actually been cut, that shelf, do you know that? So we've got two shelves here, this is the top of it. We're going to be doing the LEDs on the underside of the shelf. Now we've only got one chance doing this as well because we don't have any more replacement shelves. It runs off a bit at the back, so we'll always take our measurements from the front facing edge. What we'll do is mark the centre of the shelf, 100 mil, and then we're going to centre this on that 100 mil. So we'll centre this on the 100 mil. And then we'll just check that measurement throughout. We're going to double check our measurements, 90 mil. Then we'll check it here again. We got 90 mil. And again, we got 90 mil. 90 mil. We're going to go then and mark this here. Mark it here. Along there. Along there. Along there. That's one side of it. Like, I like to check twice or check a fucking million times and then do once. That's 90. That's 90. 90. That's not fucking 90. So there's the 90. I've got a good sharp pencil and I'm going to put down some masking tape. The reason I'm going to put the masking tape down is it'll stop any splinters when I'm using the track saw. Now, if the track saw does splinter, I'll have a little bit of forgiveness there on the edge of that. But what you want to do is have a new blade, a sharp blade, and take your time. So we'll start first by putting masking tape down. Now, that's that. Definitely though, do you know what I'm going to get? You know what I was saying to you, you've seen that Makita battery holder I have, do you know, for the, I'm going to wire that to a set of two batten LEDs and I'm going to make a sick little light, man. It'll be fucking handy because if you had a light in here, it'd be nice. I had the Makita one last night, but it was such a shadow off it. I banged my head off it as well. I walked into it a couple of times, knocked myself out in there. Doing 90. So if you look, it's also easier to see that line, Jason, do you see? Oop, wrong. That's wrong. You see how you get a sharper line as well when you write on the masking tape? Where if you're whitening on the, look at this, I'll show you something just like, you know, if you're doing a line on the veneer, right? Like, I got it in a groove there, but you're doing it kind of like, it can be a bit, that's a sharp, for me that's a sharper line, it's easier to see. Do you know? No, really I should have a square here, but look. We don't always have what we need. That track, right, is 17 mil. Yeah. So it's 17 mil track. So what we need to do is do a blade, then measure over 17. So I'm going to run my first blade, right, and cut it. Then I'll run over, then I'll measure over 17, cut that. Then I'll set up the router and then router through. So now I'm cutting this. I've set up a track. I'm only using one track because Problem is, the two tracks, when they join together, there's a problem with these tracks. I'm just using one. I really need to get a set of new tracks because these have got bashed, which shouldn't happen. So keep your tracks in a case. And at some stage, I'm going to do a video of making a track bag. And I'm going to stop it there, bring it back in. I'm going to check my depth, make sure that my LED will in fact, yeah, it will. Right, back in again. Check it twice, do it once. I like to offer up the saw blade to the original cut, just to make sure I'm in line. You know, plunge down your saw there, check it goes in, bring it in, goes in, then check it over the far side. I'm just taking my time because it's not worth the risk, and that's good. And then I'm keeping that track saw pushed against this wall because there is a bit of play on these. Okay, that's the first cut. See the tape there keeps it. When I peel that back, I'll show you what it looks like. Now we're going to mark the next one. So again, remember, it's 19mm from your cut line. You can use this as a guide. So I'm putting the end of the LED just there, and then I'll come over this side and I'll just mark that there, do you see? And then that's my distance. Now you could measure it off there, or you could measure it off there. And that distance is 106. From here to here, I don't like to use the end of the tape because this play should be 17mm, which it is. So what we'll do is, I'll just measure off. I'll measure off the cut, 17. Again, going over here, measuring off the cut, 17. I'll just put a little marking indicator there, then that's my line, you know. So my saw blade needs to be this side of the line. Crestmore, baby. Do you know what I mean?
Where did you get the name Crestmore from?
I just thought it sounded nice, you know. I was with a friend of mine before. We were just down in his family home. I was trying to think of names. I was thinking, like, I heard other companies, Ballymore, Huntsmore, and I just thought Crestmore. I was thinking of Family Crest, and then obviously the K. I just went with K because Crestmore was taken, and that domain name was really expensive. So I just changed it to a K. Then I got some guy, I think he was from Devon, and he branded all the company, and just stuck with the name. I think it kind of sticks. Sometimes it's hard, you know, when people are like, is that Crestmore? And they spell it with a C, it kind of annoys me. I think, did I make a wrong mistake? But you know what, there's no right or wrong company name. It's whatever you go with. And you know, I've had it for years now, and you kind of take pride in it, and you know, it's your identity in essence. And then you just, I wouldn't change it now, you know. Right, if you come over here, Jason, I'm going to show you something. See there, right? I'm looking at my saw blade. Does my saw blade, it's on the inside of the pencil line. So I'm just going to plunge there. Now if I check that measurement, that's 17mm. So I'll just, you know, plunge it over here, check where that blade's hitting, and that's fine. So I can run through this now. I should really have a dust extractor on, but I should have a dust extractor on, but unfortunately I don't have one at the moment. I just didn't bring one with me, but I'm outside. We got a blower and we got plenty of ventilation. Again, I'm just checking that where that blade hits. Right. So, that's that done. Floor. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to set up the router. We're going to take this out. It's chipboard, so we'll probably do a couple of pass-throughs on that. My bit isn't big enough to take out the whole section, so we'll probably pass through once and then pass through again. This is the part that, like, the reason I like to use the track saw there is if using the plunge router it could kick out and you might chip that. That's my opinion anyways. Other people have different opinions. So what I'm doing there is just fucking eliminating that chance of that blade kicking out and chipping into this by just cutting that straight line both sides. And in a minute when I pull back that tape you're going to see how clean that line is. I bought this off Temu and I wish I had it set up, but that's a handy little yoke. That's a better square than what comes with the Makita. It's not bad, but I don't know. I just wouldn't mind using that, but I don't know if I'm going to set it up now. I'm going to use that because that'll give me a lot more strength. Bits wise, I'm not doing too good. That's probably a bit big. What's that? I don't know what that is actually. It isn't. Oh, hold on. I could probably do a pass through with that. Yeah, of course. So we're going to use that. I think that's 19 or what size is that flute? 16 mil. We're going to go through with that. I'll show you what I'm going to do, Jason. Look, I'm going to change the stand on that. That's newer. I'll use this. But a ½ inch is just double that. It's a bigger router. It's made for heavier work. Really loud. These are handy for doing door frames and bits and pieces. You will use a ½ inch router, but I don't use them often, you know.
So basically it goes by the size of your flute.
It goes by the size of your flute. Exactly that. Right, listen. I'm going to set this up, right? The plunge. There's the plunge in it, right? I don't want it to go down too low, okay? So, to set up the plunge on that router, I'm just going to strap in the router there, yeah? Take the battery out of this. That's the battery I'm going to use, but I'm going to leave the battery out because obviously it has a safety switch, but you know, mistakes can happen, right? That's set there, the depth on that. So if I want to set the depth on this, I'll bring in my piece of profile. That's how deep I'm going to go. If you come around and I show you, see there, you have multiple depths. You can set different depths on your plunge, right? Do you know what I mean? So you could go down once, one pass through, and then do another pass through. So what I'm going to do there is, that's my first pass through, right? Because if you go through the whole thing in one go, it'll be hectic on this. So that's the router set up. Obviously I'll be going that way with the router. I'm setting the depth, right? Okay, so I've locked that in, right? I'm putting a bit of support on that. I'm setting this fucking thing, yeah? Because I can't make a mistake, like, right? So that's it, right? So in theory, you come down here, and then when I plunge down into that, right, I'm not going to take any of this out. I'm going to test this out first, okay? See what I've done? Taking it out there, no issues. You notice that I'm going low now, I'm going slow. You come in here, look, I plunge through it. It's a nice clean line. It clicks in, do you see? So I'll go through that once and then go through it twice. Come over here, Jason, just look at this already. You can see, like, look at that line. See how clean it is? Bit of work involved in it. Them holes in there, see those? That there is where the bracket goes through, so hopefully we're not going to hit that. Just fits in. We're going to glue that into place now. So that's it in there. Look how neat and tidy that is. Then if I look through my hole over here, it shouldn't affect. I'm not hitting the track. So we're going to glue that track in now, put a little bit for the end, and then that'll be it done. Using sticks all to stick it in. It's my go-to. Just clean it off the tip. We're going to glue here, we're going to miss these parts. Just start here. I'll speed it up a bit. So I'm cleaning it now. Set them in there. I just went and bought all new stuff from Arrow Electrical. This is Cobb LED. It's 15 watt, 3000 Kelvin, and it's 24 volt. And it's dimmable. For ease, I'm going to start from this side, so we have something to solder into. I can solder into that, but I want to try and, if you look here, I want to try and keep that plastic so I have it. Now looking at that shelf, this is the bottom. And that side is where the LED is going to start. Now we're talking, that'll go on there. Just double check that's sticking now. The Cobb LED as well. The Cobb LED gives a better look. Okay. Just trying to keep it even. It's going to look really good when it's done. And then you need to cut it there. Bear with me for a second. No, I haven't got my proper cutter. You could do this with the scissors as well. I don't know where my electrical cutter.
No matter what way you cut it, or will it end up fogging up the lights? Just you have to do it in between these things.
Exactly that. You just
in between the copper.
Good, well spotted. Yeah, do it in between the coppers. That allows you to solder on a live and a neutral cable. Then, if you ever wanted it again in the future, so you know you're not wasting it.
And why is some chrome dots?
That's where they join the tape.
Yeah. Okay.
So when they manufacture it, look, they manufacture it that big,
the difference.
and then they solder it together. Now, what I'm going to do with the diffuser, instead of starting with a small piece here, I'll start with a full one here to tie this together. So I'll use a full one here, and that kind of, if you look, that ties it together, and you don't really see that joint. Now we'll have a joint on the far side, but that's how it is. Now that comes in like that, and then we put another diffuser there. Looks good, doesn't it? Now I've got a little offcut here I can use. Best.
Yeah, you have it cut already, didn't you?
No, that's for the other one. It's not for this one. So a little offcut. I'm going to get the knife. If you look at this, bring that camera right in, you see. I'm going to try and get that joint really tight. Look at that. Not bad, eh? You can barely see it. And I will. Where's my fucking pencil? This track, anyways, needs to. See how I'm cutting it there, right? This needs to be moved. I'll just take that off. Bring it over to here with a hacksaw. Then just put that in there. See it. Looks better when you do the joint like that because you can't really see it. Now, Jason, I'm going to push the whole strip down to you. Yeah? So I'm just going to put a bit of tape on it just to hold it in place. I'll show you something now. We need to router a little channel on the side of the shelf to hide the cable. So if you come around, look, I need to make a little channel here to allow I could have done it first, but look, let's be honest, I forgot. You're in pain. Right, I need to router a channel in there. That's the new edge. And then the cable will hide in there and go inside the wall and you won't see it. Quite risky doing it this way. Over into this, but listen, I don't want to hit that LED, which I possibly might. So I'm going to come up a bit higher with it. Great tools. Now there's one thing there, do you see that? I need a little bit of something there so that when I get that down there,
you can bend the things in.
yeah, so I use a hacksaw.
Oh, you're on about the actual metal
yeah,
piece?
yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's aluminium. So no, when I get rid of that sharp edge so it doesn't cut the cable, we'll turn it in like that. This is the. I'm going to just use insulation tape, which will be fine. There you do. See, I got my cable there. Where I've done my cable, it's a lot easier to solder onto that. What I've done there is, your brown on your flex is your live, and on your LED I call the red live because direct current, red is live and black is neutral, and on DCC batteries. Your blue on your flex with alternating current would be your neutral. I've soldered them together. Then I'll just wrap a bit of tape around them. Sometimes I'll do heat shrink, but I unfortunately don't have that. So I'll just do a small bit of tape covering them so that they don't short circuit off each other. This will never be touched, do you know, it'll never be seen. Okay, and then I'll just wrap that one around that one. Now, I have them joined, okay? And I'll just tuck them in there, do you see that? And all I have to do is make sure when it goes in that they don't pop out. So I'll just put a bit of tape around those just to hold them into place. As I said, that is just whilst it's being transported. Alright, bring it, yeah, hold on a second dude. 1 sec. You need to go in a bit more, go on. Alright, welcome back. We're putting in shelf number 2, then we're going to put in the transformer. Come in a bit closer, Jason, I'll just show you again. Strip the cable, strip the neutral on your flex, strip the live on your flex. Take the neutral and the live on your LED. Do that. Do that. Take them off. Then just put the browns together. Or take the lights together, do you know what I mean? As I said, it's good practice to do it that way, but as long as it's the same on both sides, you're fine. I just put it on the tip. Done. I just put in that bit of tape there then just to kind of hold it. Boom. As you can see, the lights complement the backsplash really nicely. And they're fitted in here flush. And again, up on the top of the flush, they highlight all these pieces up here. The client has opted for some nice, just a pestle mortar, fruit bowl, a few bits and pieces up here, memories. And then the top shelf, same again. But I think they've turned out really, really nicely. It just really finishes it, and it's very nice as well, reflecting on the Miele hob. So that's it.